Today, we're looking at Noodler's X Feather. Hi, I'm Adam, and I'm an ink guy. As always, there's timestamps down below in the description, so if you're in a hurry, you can skip around. But if you got the time, I would appreciate you checking out the entire video. You can also follow me over on Instagram, and if you're new here and like fountain pen ink reviews, I would invite you to subscribe. To make sure I have a range of experience with this ink, I do the writing samples. I then put the ink into this Tasha Spectrum with a music nib, used it for a day, and used it to take the notes for this video. In order to standardize some of my writing samples, I always use Clairfontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia paper for all of the inks. I do use other papers, and some of those will show up later in the video. Now, let's look at the writing sample. I picked this ink up in bottle form, and this is actually my second bottle at this point of it. To keep my writing samples consistent, I use a Jinhao 159 with a Goulet 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X450 with a Goulet medium, and a Jinhao X750 with a Goulet extra fine. Let's take a look at the Clairfontaine. We get no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. Shaky hand wrote it. It says X tether. I know. It was an early sample, or an early writing experience for me. The extra fine is basically the same tone with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 5 seconds to dry. The medium is the same tone as the extra fine and the 1.1 with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 9 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both show no color variation. We didn't expect it and we didn't get it. Tomoe River. No bleeding, only the normal Tomoe River ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. The extra fine, same tone as the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen or shade, 11 seconds to dry. The medium is the same tone as the extra fine and the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 20 seconds to dry. Again, the scrubby shows us no color variation, and we got none. Rhodia. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 with no feather spread, halo sheen, and no shade. The extra fine is the same tone with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 8 seconds to dry. The medium is the same tone as the extra fine and the medium with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 11 seconds to dry. Again, the scrubbies show us no color variation. We didn't expect it, and we didn't get it. I agree with Vita that I've learned a lot by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. I put a line of ink down and immediately put it into water for 10 to 15 seconds. And it's very unusual. Obviously, less ink got onto this one. But you see a nice dark black line across the bottom where it's immediately soaking into the filter paper, and then it's pushing its way up. But this is truly a black ink, not a mixture of blacks. The one on the right, I let dry for 10 minutes before I dunk it into water, and looking at the two of them, obviously there was more ink on this one. Now the line across the bottom is a bit darker and a bit more there, and we see about the same amount of ink push its way up away from the water, so I'm not sure that it matters that it dried for the 10 minutes. Resistance tests are done to see how well this ink can be expected to perform on the page and how hard it may be to clean from your pen. I let the smear dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter does give a surprising result. I was a bit shocked to see how much of that black moved around, so the black that moved into chromatography is still able to move quite a bit later when you have to go back and highlight. This might not be the perfect ink for a note taker. At this point, I would scrub sometimes on the inks to see if I could get them to move. With water, where you see it moving, it's more that I'm scrubbing the paper away. It's not going away. Now, water didn't do it. Pen flush, you see I didn't scrub, and pen flush barely moved this ink, really barely broke it free. Pen flush is not going to be enough to get it out of your pen. Now, a 1/3 bleach solution, it does break it up. It does really remove it. If you have to use that 1/3 bleach solution, then just make sure that you quickly rinse your pen before, you rust any of the metal bits. I didn't have any issues cleaning this out of my pens. The only time I've ever run into an issue is if I forgot that it's been in a pen for like a month and let it sit there. But that's the only time I saw anything. For the inks I've tested, I have found an average viscosity of 2.5, with a realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. Now I'm going to link the video that shows how I do my testing and calculations. Noodler's X Feather has a viscosity of 1.75, making this a wetter ink, a pretty wet ink. To find my average dry times, I use my writing samples. Now for the inks I've tested, I found an average dry time of 17 seconds, with the realm of normal being from 13 to 21 seconds. Noodler's X Feather has an average dry time of 11 seconds, making this a faster drying ink. But what I think it is more than drying fast is that it really gets into the paper and bonds with the paper quite quickly. Instead of finding inks that look like Noodler's X Feather, I would prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. I wanted a really nice magenta and chose Colorverse Einstein's Ring. I have a lot of writing samples for this next one, so you gotta work with me here. I have Northbooks, Field Notes, Moleskin, Mead Notebook, and 20-pound copy paper in the second writing sample. As this ink is supposed to stop feathering in its name X Feather, I decided to put it to the test with some really bad papers. This is Northbooks. We see that we get no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 is no feather, like it said, no halo, no sheen, no shade, no spread. The extra fine is the same tone as the stub, with no feather spread, halo, sheen, or shade, 3 seconds to dry. The medium is the same tone as the extra fine and the stub. The medium has no feather spread, halo, sheen, no shade, 4 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both show us no color variation. We didn't expect it, and we didn't get it. Field Notes, not known for how great it does with fountain pen ink. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 stub has no feather spread, halo, sheen, or shade. The extra fine is the same tone as the stub, and the extra fine has no feather spread, halo, sheen, and no shade, 3 seconds to dry. The medium is the same tone as the extra fine and the stub. It has no feather spread, halo, sheen, or shade, 3 seconds to dry still. The scrubby for both show us no color variation. We didn't expect it, and we didn't get it. Everybody's favorite, Moleskin. Now I only did this with the extra fine. We do see that we get some bleeding. We do see some show through in the writing itself. The bleeding that's going on, I wrote that with a medium at the top. The medium at the top has no feather spread, halo, sheen, and no shade. It performed really well on such crappy paper. The extra fine has the same tone as the medium. It has no feather spread, halo, sheen, no shade. Surprisingly, 7 seconds to dry. The scrubby shows no color variation, and we didn't get any. Mead Notebook paper. So the only bleed spot we're really seeing is when I put on in the scrubby really thick, and it's being put on stupid thick. Now, there's no bleed in the writing. There is show through. But this did very well on such cheap paper. It's a 16-pound paper that's the Mead Notebook. The medium that is the top had no feather spread, halo, sheen, or shade. And the extra fine gives the same tone as the medium. The extra fine has no feather spread, halo, sheen, or shade. 2 seconds to dry. Fantastic. The scrubby, no color variation. Didn't expect it. Didn't get it. How about 20-pound copy paper? We do see some bleed spots that are occurring. It's not coming through when touching the next page. This at the top is done with the medium, and we see it a little on the scrubby. Not so much on the extra fine. It performed very well with the extra fine. No real ghosting for that extra fine writing. The medium at the top has no feather spread, halo, sheen, and no shade. The extra fine is the same tone as that medium. It had no feather spread, halo, sheen, or shade. It took 1 to 2 seconds to dry. I don't know why it looks like a 12. It's a 1 to 2 seconds to dry. The scrubby has no color variation. We didn't expect it, and we didn't get it. And that is all that I have for the writing sample. So what do I think of Noodler's X Feather? This is a staple ink that I have around, and it is a solid performing black ink. It's good. What more can you say? So what pen is going to give you the best writing experience with this ink? That's dealer's choice. This ink is fantastic when you like black inks, and it doesn't change for what pen you put it in. If you've enjoyed this video, remember, I like thumbs up, you like thumbs up, everybody likes thumbs up. Unless you didn't like it, then give me the thumbs down. Both are good. Thanks for watching.